I think he has given up, and I don't think I should drive like an asshole that I've been driving like. Anyways, back to the review. Every time this happens, every time I'm reviewing a car, somewhere on that road an SUV comes up and says, hello, let me fuck with you. Last time on the Octavia RS, it was at Cayenne Turbo. This time, well, the Q5, Q7, 45 TDI. Yes, so, driving experience. You can drive it nicely and you can own in it. Both, I think, have been demonstrated well enough in this video. Handling wise, really, really good. You know, the steering, firstly, the way it feels to hold is very nice. Plus, the way it responds, you know, look at this. I know I'm just bending the steering, giving it a little tug, and it turns. The car is turning, and I know exactly how much grip the front end has, which is not there, which is very unlike Hyundai for once, which also not very well in the Volkswagen world. So tell me a Polo GT TSI or a Polo GT, even the 1.0 TDI, that has anything resembling steering feel. On that car, you're just pointing the steering and just praying that there is grip. It's a guesswork. It's a complete guesswork. You have no idea how much grip the front end has till it starts sliding. In this car, you have everything is being communicated from the wheels into the steering rack and into my fingers. So, you know, little correction to the steering wheel instantly make the car move. So you can see I'm moving the steering with halka sa and the car is moving. This response is not there. There's a dead zone in most Polo steerings, in most Volkswagen steerings as such. And I'm not beating on Volkswagen. I'm a huge VW fan, but that dead zone and that guesswork related to the front end is something that is built in as a safety factor in the Volkswagen, but it also completely diminishes the driving experience until you do a lot of modifications to the front end, the chassis, in terms of control arms, in terms of sway bars, in terms of strut rates, in terms of bushings, to get some of that feeling back. But this car has its stock, and it's a Hyundai. So when I heard this car it got the same 1.0 GDI petrol engine as the normal i20, I was a little disappointed, but I hope that they spend the money on the suspension and the steering and improving the way this car handles, because this car, like the Polo, is also a base car for a WRC. So the base chassis has to be to that spec, after which they add the bracing and the supports in the WRC. So the chassis definitely has it, and Hyundai, excellent job on this car. The way you guys have sorted the suspension out, even though it has the same engine and the gearbox, it feels a lot faster. And you know, I have this thing, I'd rather drive a slow car fast and have fun than drive a fast car slow and just sit in traffic and feel my hard-earned petrol bills burning. Can you do that in the Polo? I don't think so. The Polo will keep on turning one side and then suddenly it will snap back. And this is on Fiat, what do you call it, secured assurance or whatever the tires are. So let's try to see. Front end grip. Look at that. That is crazy on this car. You can feel everything that the car is doing, you know, every little move the car is making, the front end is feeling every bump that's coming through the front end. It's not a harsh feeling, so you won't throw you off, but you know exactly what this front end is about and what your front tires are doing and how much power is going through them, or how much slip they have, how much grip they have. I don't know. I think this is a far I have not felt this feeling in a Polo without having to modify a fuckload of parts in it. And this car is stock. It's brand new and it's stock, and the suspension is just brilliant. I mean, come on, you can't do this in a Polo. See, as I brake, the gear comes around. You cannot do this in a Polo. No matter how much money you spend on it, unless you get some really racing spec stuff, you cannot do this in a Polo. This car is a little tail happy too. I felt the tail go out a little bit in every time I pushed it, and that is because it has a longer wheelbase and zero overhang in the back. If you look at the car from the outside, you will see that the rear wheels are as almost on at the bumper level on this car, whereas the Polos are a little inside. So the less overhang, rear overhang you have, the less polar moment you have in the car when you're turning. That means the less the rear tends to slide or come out. And with the stiffer suspension, I know exactly how much my front end grip I have, and I'm on C8 tires. I'm on shit fuck C8 tires. Bizarre. And this is a Hyundai. It's an i20. It's not even a proper N car. It's a slightly modded i20. And it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. There's no guesswork in the steering. You turn, you see the car respond immediately. There's no lag. No, it's probably one of the best electronic power steering I've driven in a long time. I mean, I'm sure the Porsches are better, but I don't have money for a Porsche, nor do I intend to buy one. So yeah, see, on C8 tires, look at this. And this is in D mode. I'm not even pushing it. I gotta figure out where it turns on. Brakes are great. Once you get used to that initial lag to the bite and adjust your brake pedal pressure accordingly, it's perfect. There's no issue with the brakes. I can't get enough of the steering. I think the steering and the suspension setup make this car so much fun, so much more fun than the i20. I mean the Polo GT. It is, and no amount of torque converter can ever replace a DCT. Even the slowest of DCT will chip faster than the torque converter and have nearly zero lag. Whereas in the principle of a torque converter is that you have something spinning water and pushing water or liquid and pushing it towards another propeller, and then the propeller spins up and then you get power. So it's basically a hydraulic coupling. And if you understand anything about engineering, a hydraulic coupling is always slower to react and more laggy than a mechanical coupling. And this car is a mechanical coupling. And I'm sure that this car, I mean right now I'm on 240 kilometers in this car. As I increase the engine miles and engine breaks in properly, I'll get some more power. And this is 100 octane. So if you have an i20 N line and you lost your Polo or something, don't feel bad. Put in higher octane, you'll win. I mean, maybe the Polo may have a little bit more top end, but this car, I'll do the logging, I'll do the data logging to see how this car reacts on bad fuel. But I have a feeling that it does react very poorly on bad fuel. It doesn't like bad fuel. So, and based on that, most of the videos I've seen of i20 versus Polo, yeah, this car can't launch. The GT TSI I think can launch. The manual car obviously can launch. The torque converter I think also can launch, so that's why it gets a launch advantage obviously. But rolling, I don't think so. Maybe, just maybe, I don't know. I had driven my friend's Polo 1.0 GT manual, 1.0 TSI manual non-GT, and it doesn't have any feel. He made it into a proper rally car, so that's for sure. Now it has feel, but yeah, compared to this, no thank you. I'll take this any day. When you've seen the kind of stupid shit I've pulled on C8 tires, I won't even think of it in a Polo. And don't get me wrong, the Polo isn't a bad car. When it came out, it was a really good car. It was one of a kind in the market. And even today, the looks of the Polo are perfect. It hasn't aged a bit. Interiors, yes, very old interiors. Build quality, I don't know. I've not owned this car for too long, so I don't know how the build quality of the i20 degrades over time, or Hyundai degrade over time. Materials used in the Polo are slightly better, but that's again a 10-year-old car, and all modern Volkswagens, if you look at the Kushaq, it's very plasticky. I mean, I wouldn't complain about the plastic quality in this after I see the plastic quality in a Kushaq or a Taigun. They're the same. Volkswagen I think is slightly better. Skoda is on the worst side, but yeah, most modern cars, plastic qualities, I don't know why this has gone down, but this has going down every generation. Like my Octavia RS interior trim is far worse than what my Laura was. My Laura's interior trim was really, really good. So, I don't know. I have not tried. I remember launching Ranveer's, what's it called? Venue 1.0 TSI. I have 1.0 7 DCT GDI. I am not very sure this car has it. I know the DCT that Ford supplies in their Fiestas, that has launch control. I am not very sure if this car has it or not. I haven't tried it yet. I want the clutch to bed in a little bit before I try it. And we'll see. If it has it, that's great. If it doesn't have it, it's okay, I don't mind. It's a front wheel drive car. What's the point of launching a front wheel drive car? Rolling is where the fun is in this car, and just simple things. Little movement of the steering wheel is instantaneous response in the chassis and your car's turning. So, and the weight of the steering wheel is very nice. That's what gives you feel connected to the road. Even with C8 Secure Assurance tires. God, what was I thinking? The steering wheel, the weight of the steering wheel, the way the steering wheel gives you feedback, it's an achievement, Hyundai. Very good job. And I'm a Volkswagen fanboy. I love the Polo GT. I mean, I would have bought one in a heartbeat had they given the 1.0 TSI with the DSG and maybe a little bit better interiors. But yeah, this car is whole different animal. This is what the Polo GT TSI was back in 2009 when it was launched in India. I remember mine was 2009 or 2010 model. What that car was for that generation of auto enthusiasts in India, this car is for this generation. It's a completely digital car with an analog feel, and it's a Hyundai. So wow, I never ever thought that I would be praising the handling and the steering of a Hyundai, let alone the power and the gearbox. I never thought that day would come, but it seems the Hyundai's N division rallying experience is slowly trickling down into their cars, and it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. I'm very, very pleased with this buy. So I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here about the Polo and the i20. The differences are so staggering, especially when you drive it on slightly higher octane fuel and you correct the tire pressure. The correct tire pressure for this car is 31 up front and 33 in the rear. The car I got when I was test driving, it had 42 psi all around, which was like making it feel like bubbly. It had no feel to it. When you set the right tire pressures in this car, put in high octane fuel, you will not regret it. You will not miss the Polo one bit. But when you put high octane fuel in the Polo, put in some stickier rubber, you will miss this car. And that is how much fun this is. Now you can drive this daily. I mean, I bought this for my daily use, and I'll actually enjoy driving it. The Polo needed a lot of money, coilovers, paddle shift steering wheel, suspension upgrades, sway bars to make it fun daily driver. This factory suspension, C8 tires, no problem. Braking, no problem. All four wheels disc hasn't faded on me yet. I'll see how the pads line up. Yeah, it works very well. In terms of engine upgrades and modding this car, that's another video altogether. That we'll decide. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now she says stock, and only thing I'm going to change is the tires, and that's it. So I hope this video answers a lot of the questions. I've not only just talked about the car, I've driven it hard on C8 Secure Assurance tires and shown you what this chassis and what this steering particularly and the front end is capable of in this car, which I owned the Polo for 6 years and no, cannot beat this. No chance. No chance at all. Polo GT TSI was a great car when it came out. When they put in the torque converter, that killed the car for me. 1.2 TSI engine, yes, a nice engine. I have not driven it much, so, but I've driven it enough to say that it is not as much fun as this engine. Maybe when it's mapped, it opens up a bit. That's a DOHC engine, this is a DOHC motor. That is a water to air intercooler, this is a proper air to air intercooler. Yeah, modding this engine is another video altogether. Once we take it apart and see what it's made of, then we'll think of modding it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do let me know if you have any questions. I think I'll try to answer as much as I can, because I come from both worlds. I had a Polo, I had an i20. I hated the i20, I love the Polo. And now I love the i20. Not that I hate the Polo, Polo is still a very good car, but it's dated and it cannot do what this car can do on a stock setup. There's no way. So take care guys, bye bye.